There we go.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, coming at you. Like what, Mike? Like a hot meth needle on the first of the month.
That was still the greatest comment we have ever received.
It was like in one of our first five shows. I don't even remember what the heck that was all about. Some listener was pissy for whatever reason, and they said, I don't know. I don't even
I
remember
can't
how that
remember
went
what their
down.
comment was, but he's like, I'm
Yeah,
coming at you hot like a meth needle on the first of the month.
yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Yes, this is episode 451 of the Two Dum Yinzers. How was you guys' Thanksgivings, Mike?
It was good. It was great. I cooked a lot,
Did you eat a lot?
but it was nice and relaxing. I did not eat a lot.
Oh, get out of here.
I didn't. Okay, I shut up. We're not going to talk about
How was your Thanksgiving, Derpy?
Food, and I won. I beat Mike that day
And
in one of the games.
and not only that day, but we will talk a little bit more, not too much more about it in a little while. You do have a nice little lead. I'm just going to put it that way going into the last night's game of the weekend between the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings tonight on Monday Night Football. However, Derpy, it wasn't all good for Ohetians this
No, it
weekend.
wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes lose to Michigan. It's something that you never want to have happen to you if you were an Ohio person, and especially if you're an Ohio State Buckeye fan. On top of the Ohio State Buckeyes losing to Michigan, the Bengals lose to the Steelers, giving up 400 yards.
Love it.
The first team to give up 400 yards to the Steelers in quite some time. And also the Browns choke one away in Denver. We'll get more into these games a little bit later. Not a great weekend to be an Ohetian.
No, it's is it ever a good weekend to be from Ohio?
It does not seem to be, Mike.
No, it does not seem to
No.
be.
We got so much, guys. We have a lot to go over today. So I do want to get things rolling here. Let me just get into my screen that I need to be in.
You sound like me right now, hurrying to put up the thumbnail and write the description.
No.
I count for you to carry like the first 5 minutes of the show so I can finish what I need to do.
I'll tell you this. let me dip into the wine cellar first, guys.
Okay.
Because we know all the things that's going to come out this week, despite the Steelers being 7-4, despite the Steelers being in second place in the division, despite the Steelers being in the number 5 seed up from the 7 seed in the playoffs. I do want to say, guys, I'm gonna dig my hand deep into the wine cellar because here comes the whining for the next few days. The Steelers only scored 16 points. We're gonna hear this. We're gonna hear this over and over. My comment to this is you're 7-4. As long as your defense is keeping the other team less than what you're scoring, you're gonna be fine for now.
For now.
The other one, well, the Bengals didn't have Joe Burrow. Well, you know what? This is the NFL, and that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
We didn't have
what?
Minka Fitzpatrick.
There's a lot of times we don't have our guys and our MVP, especially on defense, for a couple seasons. So you know what? That argument is so lame. And you know what? You're still losing to a quarterback that's a lot of people would argue isn't really that good. So you can't throw the Joe Burrow thing out the window. As far as still only scoring 16 points, I agree this has to change because I mean. Here's the thing. We do fall in the middle of a pack. We're in the middle of a big pack. And this pack is, right around as good as we are with, record wise. And say what you will, as bad as shape that you feel that we're in right now, even though it's not that bad, you could always be Buffalo. This Buffalo Bills team cannot catch a break. They can't win. They're sitting at 6-6, I believe. And, so when you put it that way, even with an all generational quarterback like Josh Allen, this team can't manage to scoop up any wins. We are still finding ways to win. You gotta give it to this defense. This defense, guys, all season long, they've managed to give it up this amount of points, 10 points in a game, 13, 19, 16, 17, 10, 18, and 22. Those are the amount of points that we've given up in every win that we got this year. So, It'd be what it be. Sometimes you have a really good
Yeah.
offense and your defense ain't that great. You score a lot of points and you give up a lot of points. And there's sometimes it's the other way around, or sometimes none of these things are good. But fortunately for this Pittsburgh Steelers team, we have a really good defense. We have an exceptionally good defense, actually, and it falls in the top five in amount of points given up in the NFL by a team throughout the
Yeah.
season. I mean, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said about this Pittsburgh Steelers team. No two ways about it. But you know what? Sitting at 7-4 with 6 games left, you have two coming to town next. You have the Cardinals coming, then you have the Patriots coming, then you go to Indianapolis, then the Bengals come back to town, then you go to Seattle, and then you finish up in Baltimore. Guys, realistically, maybe not realistically, but there's a chance that, listen, if we would win these next 5 games, let's speculate for a moment. If we would win these next 5 games against the Cardinals, the Patriots, the Colts, who did jump into the number 7 spot in the AFC playoffs, the Bengals again at home, Seattle, which I think is going to be the X factor in these 6 games, and finally Baltimore in Baltimore. Listen to this. Say we win the next 5. And let's just say that Baltimore can get to that point without losing, which I don't think they are, because they have the 49ers, the Dolphins, Jacksonville, and then us. So we have a better chance of getting to that point before they do. Now, hear me out. Let's just say we win 5 of these games going into the Baltimore game. That game could be, Mike, it could be. Get ready. Get ready for this. That
I'm
game
ready.
could be for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Yes, I said it. If the Pittsburgh Steelers land is the number 1 seed in the AFC this year, that would be the craziest thing ever in the history of the NFL. I don't care what anybody says, but it is in fact a possibility, because these teams are still playing one another. Baltimore's playing Dolphins, Baltimore's playing Jacksonville. So let's just say Baltimore wins one and loses one. That takes a win away from one of those teams who all have that same record. It's 1 game better than we are right now. There's still 6 weeks of football. As long as the Steelers keep muttering forward and fumbling, stumbling, and bumbling forward like they do, it's not out of the question that this team could be sitting at the number 1 seed. Yes, it's crazy. People are going to say this guy is stupid, but you know what? I don't care. It's a possibility. And at this point, we're looking a little bit better than Baltimore is, just by the schedule that we have left.
Yeah, that's like our strength right now is our strength of schedule. It was something like what, a 479 winning percentage left, all these teams combined. Seattle's not looking too hot right now. And like I said, like, it's the Ravens. That's really our only losable game. Kyler Murray, that Cardinals team isn't that good. But if
they
we
were real bad yesterday.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know they look real bad. But if we fall into that trap and let Kyle Murray stick around, he's like Kenny Pickett. You let him stick around, he's gonna fight. He can find a way to win.
I just don't think they're good enough from top to
I don't
bottom.
think
We have a
from
good
top to
defense.
bottom. Yeah. Like it, they have like some players there, but not enough to overcome being how bad they are from top to bottom. But I just, he's that kind of quarterback that just worries me. He reminds me of like that Doug Flutie type, to where he will find a way in a tight game, it seems, to eke out a victory. But hey, I think that's a totally winnable game right there looking ahead. But yeah, I did predict 11 wins this year in my official
I said
prediction.
12-5.
And Derpy said 12-5, and I think Ryan had a pretty good schedule too. Somehow we convinced ourselves in the preseason that they were going to be good. Beginning of the season,
because
it didn't
everyone
look
thought
like
they
we
were
were
going to
wrong,
be good in the
but
preseason.
somehow I think we all took into the account of how bad the schedule was too, and the way we got going in the second half. And if we can stay tight in that first half, the second half's going to carry us, and that's what we're seeing. Like the way this offense, they got more, like you said, 400 yards the first time in like what, 2.5, 3 years. But the way they were moving the ball, it reminded me of the second half of last year. Some nice long runs, a couple deep passes here and there sprinkled in. Not a lot of points, but the defense took over. And that was the recipe down the stretch the second half when we had a damn good record last year. So I hate to say it, Ryan, but 12-5 might be a possibility.
And say what you want about our schedule. And here's how it's playing out. And a lot of people don't realize these teams like Baltimore, they're finally getting the teams that we played at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
You got to figure 3 of our 4 losses, were the 49ers, the Jaguars, Houston. I mean, these are the teams that Baltimore's playing now. So, it's not that we have this easy schedule. It's just that it played out to where we have the easy part last, and I dig that. Again, the one team that I think is an X factor is the Seattle team. I don't know which Seattle team
I would agree.
is going to be there when we go to face them the second to last game of the year. However, it is on the other side of the country. It is in that stadium, that loud stadium, the 12th man, everything like this. That's the game that worries me. The 3 home games, I'm not so worried about. Arizona, New England, and Cincinnati. I think those are all winnable, and I think we'll find a way to eke those out. The 3 away games, guys, are the ones that worry me. They are the Colts, again, who's playing great football. They hopped into a playoff spot. Is the Seattle Seahawks and the Baltimore Ravens. The 3 that we go on the road are the 3 that I'm wary of. But I think that we have as good as chance as anybody else at this point, because again, your great teams with your great players and your great quarterbacks, they're not looking exactly great. And we're finding a way to hang in there with a bunch of problems. And again, do we have as many problems as we think, or is this just another case of a hangover from being a really good team with a really good quarterback for a couple of decades, and we just kind of have to refeel what it is not to be an elite tier team again.
To not have a superstar at, on offense at every position.
Right.
We forget, like you said, we were spoiled. We had Ben, we had AB, we had Bell. Say what you want about those 3 guys. They were superstars.
Obviously not as bad as we think we are.
No, but
we're
like
not.
Said, we're so used to like those guys, just any one of them being able to take over a game at any moment's notice. And whereas now, okay, we're eking out these wins. I think our line now is better than the line we had then. I think they're rounding into a pretty good form. We saw it yesterday. Pass protection was amazing outside of maybe 1 or 2 plays, but that's going to happen. That's going to happen in the NFL. Run game looked really good too. Looked amazing. The line was getting a good burst, and so
we listen to this.
Oh God, I like it. Consistency. That's the theme. Like we talked about that last week.
We're consistently bizarre.
We need to be more consistent with the execution on offense. Same thing on defense. We saw it. Like these plays that they hit on yesterday. Some of them were there in the past, but yesterday, man, they were consistent when they needed the big run. They got it. When they needed the big completion, Kenny dropped it in there.
I thought the offense looked as consistent as it has in a long time.
Yeah, and they stepped up when they needed to as well.
It was as consistent as it was in a long time.
Yeah,
and I got to tell you, you take two particular plays, and they don't turn out the way that they do. We would have looked pretty damn consistent yesterday. The reason that we're saying we wasn't as consistent is because we scored 16 points. Again, let's say coach goes back and challenges the Deontay and we get that touchdown.
Yeah.
Which again, that has, that's not our fault. It's coach, they should have at least looked at it.
Like my question is too, because I was thinking about this because you and I were kind of talking about it first, like, oh, that's not a catch. Then we were talking ourselves into it before they even announced that, hey, it could have been a touchdown. Was it replayed on the Jumbotron? Because you know how a lot of places they won't show that replay, and if coach can't see it on the field, what are they saying up in the booth? Because they're looking at the TV one too. So was it Tomlin not seeing it, or did he see it and not think he was going to be able to get it overturned?
So let's just say that play goes. Let's just say that play goes as it should have, and we would have got that touchdown. And who knows what kind of, maybe let's just say off the Jalen Warren fumble and Deontay watching the ball bounce around. Let's just say that didn't
Jones.
Let's just say that didn't happen, and they end up getting a field goal out of that. Yeah. So you make that 26 points again. At this point, people are going to start saying, "Look at this! The offense not only had a lot more yards, they were able to score more." So can you really take that away from what the offense did? I think what the offense did, it was certainly better. Attacking the middle of the field, downfield early. These are the things that they've been having to do for 2 years, and for whatever reason, this coordinator wasn't doing it. Because here's the thing: look what happened yesterday. We did it again, and we did it again, and guess what? It kept working. What was the problem for the past year and a half?
Yep, and two, like Kenny wasn't afraid to pull the trigger on some of those tight throws across the middle.
I've never seen him.
He wasn't, like what we saw these first 9 games out of Kenny was what we saw his first 4 years at Pitt. What we saw yesterday was what we saw his last year at Pitt and what we saw at the end of last year. Not being afraid to take that shot.
If we could get year 17 of Pitt Kenny, we'll be in really good shape.
Brian said it, not me.
We'll be in really good shape. Well, I could say it because I'm a Kenny fan.
Yeah, and I'm a Steeler fan. I'm not allowed to say it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. But no, like we only from Pickett, all we need is a
You can't
above.
say the K word, Mike. It's not. You're just not allowed.
I know, like if he can just play average quarterback,
Which he's
that's
been doing.
that's
Which is
Don't
what
lose
he's been
football
doing.
games. Don't lose football games.
Don't lose football game. Like you said, they showed that stat of how many passes without an interception.
That
Like you
was
said, he has half of it down. We just need that other half.
Yeah.
Get
Be
if
more
he can only
productive.
throw one touchdown a game. That's I'll take one touchdown a game, sprinkle two in there every once in a while, and rely on the run game and the defense. Yeah, that's how we won in the 80s and 90s. That's really not how you win today. But you know what? For this team, that's enough with that defense that we have. You know,
Defense is real good. You gotta
score 20 points on offense. You have
when you say the Steelers
really good chance.
stink, you got to think back to the teams with the Trent Dilfer quarterback in Baltimore. Look what they did with that defense, with Brad Johnson in Tampa Bay, what they were able to do with that defense. And I'm not saying we're going to win a Super Bowl. However, you got to say that it's an all right team. This team is okay.
Yeah.
It's not we're not going to be zipping the ball around like Big Ben did for 20 years. But you know what? That's something we kind of have to get used to until we can catch that lightning in the bottle again.
Exactly.
You know what? This team is not a bad team. They almost made the playoffs last year by a game. Right now they're sitting pretty. Again, guys, we played Baltimore. That's a playoff. That's a number 1 seed. We beat Cleveland. That's a playoff team. We have on the list, we still have Seattle, we still have Baltimore, we still have Indianapolis. So, these last 6 teams, people can say how easy they are. But again, the 3 of those teams we play on the road are all playoff teams at this moment. Yeah. So, it's a bunch of people just talking right now. But at the end of the day, realistically, the Steelers have a chance to do something that they haven't done in a while, get into the playoffs. Maybe, like I said, if you could get Baltimore in the first round, maybe win a playoff game.
Yeah.
We're not as bad as people think. We're not as good as people want to be. But we're not as bad as people were saying that we are.
And my God, if you just sit down and watch NFL games that don't involve like San Francisco or the Eagles, you're going to see a lot of average football being played. Like the Eagles, Greg Rosenthal from the NFL Network tweeted out like 4 times this year the Eagles have been outgained and they won. And the Pittsburgh reporter goes, he's like, is it happening everywhere in the NFL? It's not happening just here in Pittsburgh.
The Cowboys and the Dolphins can't beat a team with a winning record.
Yeah, the same thing with the Lions.
I mean, these are 2 teams that people are putting in the Super Bowl,
Yeah, so there's a lot of average football being played. And that's what happens when there's a lot of parity throughout the league right now. And like I think Ryan, I don't know if we talked on this like last week or the week before, but like how many great quarterbacks have retired, and there hasn't been that big influx of talent to replace them. So this is what happens when you don't have that high end quarterback play. You're gonna have a lot of tight games.
Yeah, it's good for. It's good for football. It's good for the NFL. It's terrible for Pittsburgh fans.
It's terrible for us because we win and we're miserable.
Yeah,
we have to be the worst fan base when it comes to winning. We win games and it's like, oh, the sky is falling. It's true. It's true. Like, look, last week against the Browns, we go up against the number 1 defense, and people are boo-booing.
Lose by 3 at the end of the game by a field goal.
Yeah. Yes, they had a backup quarterback, but they had the number 1 defense. They win how we normally win.
Again, compare their backup quarterback to the quarterback that everyone says that we have, then it should be an even match then. You know what I mean? It isn't like we're going Big Ben versus their backup.
Yeah, exactly. We have a second-year quarterback who was, maybe hamstrung by the offense coordinator. You have to take all that shit into consideration. I don't think some people take it to the extreme. Both ways of being everything's Kennedy's fault or everything was Canada's fault. It's somewhere in the middle.
I'm gonna go by what you're saying today and say that you're somewhat optimistic with this team still. At this point, I'm a little
up. Yeah, we just because look at the schedule. Now, if we had like the heavyweights coming up, like kind of like how Baltimore does, would I be as optimistic? No. But what we have,
and even with the heavyweights, we weathered the storm. We kept our head above water. We didn't let it get to the point where we went out and lost. We haven't lost 2 games in a row all season.
I was about to say we didn't let how last year losses snowball.
Right, and that was the problem last year, that we got stuck behind the 8 ball really early with that 1-3 start, and it was very difficult for us. Even with that nice stretch that we had down the second half of the season, it just wasn't enough to get back into it. This year we weathered that storm earlier in the season, and now we're sitting. Like I said, it's you can't count this in because I mean, there's
Yeah.
still a lot that needs to be said about the Steeler team, but we are sitting in a pretty good position, and a lot of people wouldn't have expected this team to be sitting
No.
here at this moment.
Because look, that first game we got blown out. Couldn't do
Yeah.
anything offense defensively against a team that people had going to the Super Bowl. Then he had to follow it up against the Browns, who everyone's offseason Super Bowl champions was the Browns. We weathered the storm there, weathered the storm against the Raiders. We lost to a Texas team that no one thought would be this good as they are. Then we bounced back and beat a tough Ravens team. And, like you said, this team has resiliency. People want to say maybe Tomlin's losing the team. He could have lost the team early this year, and he kept them together.
Yeah. One
Yeah,
one comment I do want to say, Mike. I remember in the game yesterday, the gentleman said that with Burrow and the Bengals had won 3 straight against us.
Yeah.
That's not correct because we won the first game of the year last year in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So that was incorrect. That's one thing that
incorrect.
I just went back and watched the game last night. And I thought they only had a 1 game. They had a 1 game winning streak against us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So also, what else? Mike Derpy, Myles Garrett, big 2 tackle day.
Yeah, did
he
What do you do?
He got 2 tackles.
2 tackles.
2 tackles
Congrats.
against the Denver Broncos, who beat the Cleveland Browns and knocked them down. We do have by interdivision record head tiebreaker right now. We are 3-1 in the division. The Browns are 3-2 in the division. By this, we are ahead of the Browns. We have 2 division games left. One again is a Bengals game at home. You got to like that. And then, of course, that last game of the season. A lot is going to come down to that game. You could just feel it. You could feel it. You could feel it. A lot is going to come down to that last game. And it could be for, a decent spots in the playoffs. I mean, the Ravens are sitting at number 1 right now, and they're finally getting their week off this week. I think it's about time because they've always had that half game on us just because they played an extra game.
Yeah.
We'll be 1 game behind them if we win against the Cardinals this week because you take their half game out. So, basically going into those last 5 games, we'll be 1 game behind Baltimore. And again, they have the 49ers, they have the Dolphins, they have Jacksonville, and they have us. So, say what you will, Jacksonville has a tough road. And I got to be honest, I didn't think they looked that great last night or yesterday. I thought Lamar Jackson looked average because they took his legs away from him, which I understand you got to do because you want to keep your quarterback healthy. But the more he stays in the pocket, the more average he looks to me personally. And I think that you take that element of his legs out of the game, boy, that's a big difference for that team.
Yeah, because his completion percentage is starting to come down as the season's gone on.
He didn't look good, Mike.
Because he was like what, completing like 74% of his passes. Now he's down to 68. The numbers have come down. He needs that element because that makes him so much more dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. That's why he is who he is.
Because him being able to run like that, you're going to pull people down to the box. That's going to open up them even more. Yeah, you want him healthy throughout the year. You want to have long career, but you still got to let him run when he needs to run. You can't. At this stage in his career, he still has to be able to run. Let him run because that's going to. But hey, Harbaugh, be an idiot. I'm all for it, baby. Just have him sit back there and not use a part of the game that makes him one of the most dangerous players in the NFL. I'm all for it.
Justin Tucker misses his first field goal inside of 50 yards in a long time. I don't know what the number or length is.
Yeah, it was seasons worth.
And also the Joe Flacco. That name becomes a little bit more visible because DTR or whatever his name is, JFK, whoever he is.
Don't call him JFK after he gets a head injury.
Yeah, he has a head injury. And they put the other guy in that whoever he is, but you know what? Joe Flacco brought in last week does have veteran experience, knowledge, and all that stuff. So we might be seeing Joe Flacco under center on the Cleveland Browns before we know it, guys.
Flacco didn't look good last year when he filled in for the Jets for a couple of games.
He didn't look good when he played in Baltimore. I don't care what anybody says.
He had like 3 good years, and then he had a hot playoff run. That was about it.
Yeah.
He played for the Jets last year, right?
Yeah. It wasn't pretty.
It wasn't pretty derpy.
It was the Jets, though.
Passes down the middle of the field and deep passes to Pat Freiermuth were the theme of this game, guys. I can't tell you. I couldn't get enough of the way that this this connection between Kenny and Pat Fryermuth is. If only the Pitt and Penn State fans could get along the way that these two got along yesterday,
exactly,
the world would be a better
so
place.
Pitt fans, learn from Kenny being magnanimous and gracious to us.
Oh, we're gracious. We're gracious, baby. Nothing says grace like this face, baby.
Right.
What else? What else do we got here?
But no, like real quick, man, that those passes to him, that's what they need more of. We saw this from Fryermuth his rookie year with him and Ben. We saw it last year with Kenny and Pat. You know, the touchdowns went down, but the yardage was still there. So I don't know what happened. Yeah, he's been hurt, but come on now, throw it to the middle of the field more often. Hopefully, this is a sign of things to come. I'm loving this dynamic duo of Eddie Faulkner and Mike Sullivan.
I just seen this morning that what's her face? Canada wasn't letting them guys help. Like when he was doing it, when
apparently,
he was
yeah, I saw that too.
Saying,
like,
yeah, I'm gonna make the playbook. Not you.
He was Cartman.
He was Cartman. Faulkner and Sullivan were like Stan and
Kyle. Yeah, the adults. You know, the kid group.
So that's funny. Playoff started today. It would look like this, guys, in the AFC. Number 1 would be Baltimore having the week off. Number 2 would be Kansas City, 3, Jacksonville, 4, Miami, 5, Pittsburgh, 6, Cleveland, 7, Indianapolis.
Ooh.
The playoff, it would go like this. The Steelers would be playing at Miami. If the playoff started today, Cleveland will be playing at Jacksonville, and Indianapolis would be at Kansas City. Over in the NFC, Philadelphia holds the number 1 seed, only losing that one game. Sitting at 10-1, Philadelphia. San Francisco in the number 2 spot. Detroit 3. Atlanta with a 5-6 record at the 4 spot. Dallas 5, Minnesota 6. They play tonight. And Seattle 7. It would go down like this. Seattle would be playing San Francisco. Detroit would be playing Minnesota. And the 5-6 Atlanta Falcons would be playing the Dallas Cowboys. The Atlanta Falcons being at 5-6 are under 500, which means Dallas would probably win that game. Also, TJ Watt now is back up top of the list with sacks. He's at 13.5. Khalil Mack, 13. Myles Garrett, 13. And Daniel Hunter has 12. TJ Watt's tackle total went up to 41 tackles. Myles Garrett still sits at 32.
Miles. He got an arm owie. He got a shoulder owie.
Yeah, good for him. You know what? I don't even care about him. If you're going around smashing people over the head with helmets, I don't care about you.
Hey, he reformed himself. He picked it up and handed it.
If anybody, you know what I mean? That's like a that's like it's like breaking the law. I mean, beating somebody over the head with a helmet.
From the Rangers again, Truba, just two-handed whacking a dude over the head with his stick.
That's what I'm saying. If I took a bat and if I was a baseball player and smashed a guy over the head, I'd be, come on, you'd be in big trouble.
Football and
attempted
hockey.
murder.
Football and
attempted
hockey.
murder, right?
Football and hockey. You get fined.
Mason Rudolph got to walk around that lumpy ass head the rest of his life.
Hey, man, football and hockey, you just get fined.
It's not a victimless crime here.
Well, it's Mason.
A couple other statistics from the game.
Statistical.
Kenny almost gets to 300 yards, 22 yards short. Yesterday, he goes 24 for 33 for 278. Najee Harris, 15 carries, 99 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Jalen Warren, 13 carries, 49 yards on the ground. Mike, we said over under 150, and they were exactly 148 yards rushing between the two of them, just under. Pat Fryermuth, 9 catches, 120 yards. Let's see. Pickens, 3 catches, 58 yards. I thought he had a couple really nice plays when he got the ball on the sideline and he was able to get downfield. Deontay Johnson, 4 catches for 50 yards. On the defensive side of the ball, TJ Watt, 5 tackles, 2 sacks. Led the Steelers, tied with Trenton Thompson, who had 5 tackles and an interception.
He was
I liked him in preseason. I thought if we could get him back and even have him, linger on the practice squad, he was a good guy to have.
Yeah.
Hayward and Herbig both with the sack yesterday each. Herbig's sack was beautiful.
Oh my God, that thing was a thing of beauty.
I hope we see more of him.
You're going to, believe me, man. You just wait. If we ever have any outside linebacker issues, you're going to see Matt Herbig, but let's just hope that doesn't happen. Notable Cincinnati statistics: Mixon, 8 carries, 16 yards.
Ooh.
Jamar Chase, 4 catches, 81 yards. And Mike Hilton for the Bengals, led the game in tackles with 8 tackles altogether.
Yeah, Mike Hilton. He loves this game. He loves it.
Yeah,
He's all over the place. I tell you, another shout out, Michael Walker. Man, he had 5 tackles. Another guy off the practice squad. Him and Trenton Thompson. Like those are the guys that Tomlin likes to have. Guys who have NFL experience. Might not be everyday starters, but these are guys that have been in there week in week out for other teams that know how to step up and play when needed. And he showed why he keeps guys like that. Why he keeps those guys around to where that next man up is going to be ready to go.
I couldn't agree with you more, Mike.
Get you apple pie after the show.
A couple other things here. Again, guys, this is the first time that we outgained any team all season.
That was almost a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, we outgained these Bengals. And the thing, not having T. Higgins helped big time too.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Jamar Chase wasn't going to do anything without T. Higgins on the other side and without his quarterback back here. I thought even if he does get 4 catches for 81 yards, that's not going to be enough to win this game, hopefully. And it wasn't. So, things worked out.
And his best reception was off a deflection.
2 of them.
Two of them off deflections. So he did have that nice catch over Porter. That was a great battle between those two down the sidelines on that play, though.
I'm liking Porter. Porter's looking really good right now.
Mm-hmm.
We got to continue doing what we're doing, especially on defense. And say what you want. Again, the amount of points that we're letting up is unbelievable because we're winning games by only scoring 13, 16 points like this. You got to really give it up to this defense. It is where the strength is this year. It just is what it is.
Yeah, that's the formula to winning them. That's their identity, I guess.
I did see also. Did you guys see this morning?
You just keep it close and let the defense close it out.
Right. And just like you did 99% of the time, if it comes down to it, hopefully Kenny gets you close enough to put you in a position to win at the end of the game. You know what? The special teams look good. Boaz never misses. Harvin's punts look good. All those little things that go into a game, everything is hitting.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're middle of the pack, guys. Say what you want. A lot of people want to put us and say that, this team is 28 this, 30th that. We're the middle of the pack. This is as middle of the pack gets, I think. We're slightly good.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's going to be just enough to get you into the playoffs. And That's all you need to do. You get into the playoffs, you get into the tournament, whatever you want to say, however you want to phrase it. That's all you need is to get your foot in the door and see what the hell happens. My God, you see it every year in the NFL. Upsets happen. And I'm, right now with the way this team is, I'll take being, playing spoiler in the playoffs, seeing how far this team can go.
A couple other notes around the league, Mike. I just saw this morning before we got on, Frank Reich got canned over in Carolina. I'm sure it won't be long now. People are going to be etching him in to be our offensive coordinator here.
Oh, they're already, all the morning shows were saying, yep, get him right in, get him in, get him in.
Who wouldn't want this 1-10 coach? But you know what?
He's he's more of a coordinator than a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, or than a head coach.
So we'll see about that. Bill Belichick, they have 2 wins, Mike. Is there anything that makes you feel better than the Patriots having 2 wins at this point of the season? And this is also the first back-to-back losing season Bill Belichick had as a Patriots head coach.
This is who he was before he landed Tom Brady.
It seems to be, huh?
Yeah,
exactly.
On those Browns teams, there was nothing special. New England before Brady got there, he was nothing special. But he knew how to manage that team, though. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. Guy won 6 fucking Super Bowls.
Also, it's the first time in Robert Kraft's era. He bought the team back in 1994. Yep. This is the first back-to-back losing seasons.
It'd be wild if he gets fired.
Yeah,
I can see it happening.
I could too.
It's the NFL, it's not
the
for
Patriots.
Long,
it's the Krafts. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah. CJ Stroud passes Justin Herbert for most passing yards in his first 11 career games. This kid, I don't think he could be MVP this year, but I think he could definitely be offensive rookie of the year.
If not, there's something wrong.
I just don't see them giving a rookie the MVP. I just don't.
He should though. Be like for the where would they be without him? He's the most valuable player to that team. You know,
I mean, they just fell out of a playoff spot. They're 6-4. I mean, they're not setting the world on fire, but they're doing really good.
they're
So,
doing
you know,
that place was
Better than expected.
Oh
Yeah.
hell yeah, much better than expected. I thought he'd be all right. I didn't think he'd be this damn good. This early.
right. He's very, very impressive. I'm very impressed with this kid.
Like he nothing seems to rattle him. Like
Right.
he left everything out on the field. You saw him like at the end waiting for the field goal to be kicked. He's just sitting on the ground, just gassed on the bench, man. Kid plays his heart out, man.
I like him. I like him a lot. Also, Ryan Tannehill, name being thrown around for a possible Browns move, which, you know what, that probably wouldn't be bad for the Browns, especially if they want to stay in some kind of a contention again. I mean, dude getting hurt yesterday, their main guy out for the season. You know, they realize that they have the best defense. I'm sure the thought had went through their head, but that is a name that I've seen being connected with the Browns a little bit more. Is that Ryan Tannehill from Tennessee?
How are they going to get him though? Trade deadlines, everything. It's
Who
gone.
knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
Wave
I
him.
don't know, Mike.
Works
Who
out. You
cares?
know how
Steal
the
him.
baseball, they like you waive this guy,
Yeah.
you call throughout the league, and hey, don't put a claim in, don't put a claim in. They'll find a way to collude.
Mike, we do have to do our grades. Let's start Derpy also. Let's start
All
with
right.
our grading of the team for yesterday.
Derpy.
We'll start at the top with quarterbacks. I'm going to start with Derpy today. Derpy on a normal grading scale, A to F. We're gonna go by position, and you're gonna tell me what you graded each position yesterday. All right, for the Steelers. Let's start at the top. Derpy, what do you give the quarterbacks, the Pittsburgh quarterbacks, for the grade for yesterday?
A
All right.
minus, realistically.
For the lack of production, I would guess, right?
Right.
Mike, over to you. Quarterbacks. What do you give the quarterback play yesterday?
B plus. It looked really good
Around that range,
at
yeah.
times. Other times it was back like the one read, hurry up and throw it and then roll it into a sack.
Yeah. I don't necessarily like that play, but I don't necessarily like that rollout that he does to the left either.
Oh my god, I just want to kill him.
Coach really needs to talk to him. Running backs, Derpy. What do you give the guys? Again, Najee Harris, he has 99 yards on 15 carries. Jalen Warren has 49 yards on 13 carries. What do you give the RBs?
B plus.
Mike, running backs.
Same grade, B plus. Gotta secure the rock.
They've been running the ball really well lately. Gotta like
They
it.
did. Oh yeah, hell yeah, they have.
Derpy, tight ends. What do you give the tight end play for the Steelers yesterday? Pat Freiermuth having a season game. Even big Darnell Washington got a catch, and I believe even little Connor Hayward might have had one too. Derpy, what do you give tight ends?
I'm gonna give him an A plus.
Ooh, that's got to be the Pat Freiermuth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His return.
Mike, tight ends.
Yeah, tight ends A plus as well. Not only in the passing game, but in the running game as well. Man, they were hitting their blocks. Connor Hayward had the touchdown saving tackle on the fumble recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darnell had that nice clutch catch for a key first down. So yeah, A plus, man, all around. That was like the most complete game that group has played all year.
Derpy, wide receivers. What do you give these guys? Pickens, Johnson, Allen Robinson, Calvin Austin III, Boykin. Is the collective
I'm gonna
group...
say B minus just because DJ.
Okay. Mike, over to you.
Going backwards.
What do you? Oh, he did go back. Yeah. Okay. Mike,
Dude,
over to
I'm
you.
about to give a physics explanation here, like potential energy and kinetic energy and angular momentum here.
But he got hit. He stopped.
He got
and
hit.
Then went backwards.
Yeah, because
He
all
still
his
went
energy,
backwards.
the kinetic energy, he got hit. He went off the ground. Energy turned potential, and his body was going this way. So then, when his muscles twitched, the
Plead
kinetic
your case,
energy
Mike. Plead your
took him
case.
that way. And this is basic science. Anyone pay attention in fifth and sixth
He
grade
went back
science class?
5
Apparently, just
He
me.
went backwards 5.5 yards after he stopped.
Yeah, because that the potential energy turned into kinetic energy
again
when
with-
he
all right,
twitched,
with
and it
the
took him
science.
backwards.
All right, there you go.
I'm gonna go with.
No,
I'm gonna
got
give them a
yours.
B. I'm gonna give them a B.
You got a
and,
B
hey,
and your science lesson from Mike
B and a
today.
science lesson, and yeah, B.
Derpy, offensive line. What do you think? How do you think the offensive line did?
I'm gonna go B.
Yeah, they kept Kenny off the ground. They ran. I mean, we were able to run the ball. Mike, offensive line. What do you think?
B minus because Chase Daniels and Broderick Jones on that
Okay.
fumble. Look,
Um,
they were just looking at the ball too.
it was like a wax museum all
It
of a
was
sudden.
like everyone's just staring
I
at the
thought, what do
fucking ball.
even if you believe that your teammate was down and it wasn't a
Yeah,
fumble, you still play the ball.
yeah.
Whistle wasn't
Yeah,
blown. Other guys are chasing
you
it.
got DJ walking this way. You got Jones and Daniels walking that way. Like the play's over. I'm like, what are you three idiots doing?
Um,
Oh,
offensive line. Mike, did you grade them?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Tongue in cheek B minus, but really, I'm going to give them B plus. They played a solid
Okay.
game.
Defensive line, Derpy. Cam. Ogunjobi. All these guys. What do you think about the defensive line?
I'm gonna go C plus.
All right. Got to remember we held, Joe Mixon to
Yeah,
16 yards. 16 yards. Mike, defensive line.
damn. Derpy is like grading the D line harshly. I'm going to go with a B plus on that D line. They like you said, man, only gave up 25 yards. They got some pressure. Keanu Benton was making key plays. Ogunjobi was all
Fine,
over
B
the
minus.
place.
Derpy grades like a ninth grade English teacher.
Clam was just in the right place at the right time, just being there, just standing there. I don't remember his sack at all. Like
It was,
I don't.
you know
Was
what?
that the one where the guy ran into him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just standing there. He got blocked into a hole, and then the quarterback ran right into him. Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Derpy linebackers. We're talking about
Better be lucky
the,
than
the
good, I
whole
guess.
crew. The whole crew, Derpy.
A minus.
Mike, linebackers.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an A as well. TJ, not only in the run game, he did a stunt where he come right up the middle. He read the play, he blew it up. He didn't get the tackle, but he blew it up to where the D line could come and clean it up. He was out there playing in coverage. He was doing a hell of a job of pass rush. Even McHerbig's big sack. Highsmith didn't. He only had one tackle, but he was getting good pressure off the edge as well. So, Landon Robinson, what more can he? Roberts, what more can you say about him? He was all over the place again. Yeah, Michael
Linebackers look
Walker
good.
again. He looked like he hasn't missed. Like he's been out there all year. He doesn't look lost. So yeah, A for that group.
Defensive backs, Derpy. This is, of course, we include cornerbacks, safeties, the whole deal. All the defensive backs we lump together. You got to remember Trenton Thompson had an interception. Joey Porter Jr. was covering Chase like white on rice. I mean, the whole defensive back room, Derpy. What do you give these guys?
A to the infinity plus.
Whoa,
They look really good. I agree. I mean, people are always they're gonna say. I mean, it was Browning, but you know what? All in all, this team played a really great game in a defensive backfield. Mike, what do you give these guys?
I'm gonna be a little bit harsher. I'm gonna go with a B plus.
Okay.
They had a couple big gains for key first downs. Like that Jamar Chase one for 31. I'm not going to count that. It was a tip ball.
Yeah, the two tip passes. I mean, come on.
Passes. But, the long pass to Joe Mixon that was a screen. That's not on them. But the 25-yarder to the tight end, the 16-yarder to the Io Basis or whatever, and then the big 11-yarder to Drew Samples. Well, those big 3 chunk plays kept drives alive. So B plus.
Derpy, special teams. How do you feel the special teams performed?
Give me just an A.
All right. Yeah, they were solid. Nothing bad, nothing amazing, but
They did their
Mike,
jobs.
Mike,
Oh,
special
God.
teams.
It would have been an A plus if the Gunners down there, when they had opportunities to down it twice inside the 5-yard line, would have done their job. Harvin had, he had 2 in the 20 and 2 touchbacks. It should have been 4 in the 20.
I
0
agree.
touchback. Those weren't on him, but other than that, he was great. The Gunners, outside of those 2 plays, they contained everyone. Hell yeah.
How about fellas? How about coaching? I'm interested to see how Ian's grade this. This, of course, is collective. This is not just Mike Tomlin. This is how the interim OCs performed, how the Just all in all, give me your overall assessment, Derpy. How do you think the coaching grades out?
Well, I'd say an A.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I'm gonna go A as well. The offense opened up more. The defense, for the most part, my God, was lockdown city outside of like what 3 plays that shit, man. They took away the run to where they forced Cincinnati to pass. Tomlin rallied the troops, man. Fired
It's,
the
I gotta
fired the
say
offensive
this, Mike.
coordinator. There's like rumors or innuendo that players were chirping at each other, but
Yeah.
everyone was laughing and having a great time. Even Deontay had that big catch. You can see a picture of Minka Fitzpatrick, big smile on his face. He's holding the team together, man.
I gotta say
Navigating.
this for what it is that the
Good game
OCs are
plan.
doing at this time.
I love it.
I think what people were really watching for is to see if there was a difference, to see if we would come out and do different things, to see if we would have, different results in some areas that we just constantly haven't been, and we have. So I mean, if we do take baby steps at this point
Yeah.
with the situation, that this could, again, not be the worst season ever. And as you guys were
Yeah.
stating earlier, could easily be an 11-win season, even a 12-win season. So I agree. Coaching, I would give a passing grade where normally a lot of times I don't. I'm harsh on the
Yeah.
coaching staff. Coaching looked good.
Real quick.
Especially, yeah, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, talking about the coaching on the offensive coordinators, it was just the 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 sequence of plays that they put together were more
Yeah.
coherent.
Yeah,
And
right.
I think
It
I think that
made
was
sense. They were able to
made
get
sense. They were the same plays. They were just strung together differently. And if Canada would have listened to those guys of how to string the plays together, he would still might have a job because they were the same plays we've seen throughout
Right.
his 3 years here
Mhm.
or 2.5 years here. They were the same plays. They just strung them together differently.
We're going to add one this week. Overall, Derpy, I need your grade on how you feel the Steeler team played overall. Again,
A-.
Mike,
B plus.
even with a
Somewhere around that range.
16-10 win, these guys are still feeling pretty optimistic about an overall feel of the game.
Yeah, just like yeah.
A win is a win.
Win is a win. Even taking into account that we're playing like the worst defense. We were coming in as one of the worst offenses in the league too. So you got to take it all together. We did what we should have done against that team, and our offense performed better than they have been. So, in a vacuum, yeah, B plus.
And again, who would have expected us to be this much better than the Buffalo
7-4.
Bills at this point in the season? So some things are working out. Say what you will, but some things are working out for this football team right now. Guys, let's hit the scoreboard. We're going to go over the just real quick. We're going to blow through these weekly scores. Still have a lot to go over. We got about 13 minutes of the show left. So let me jump right into it here. Of course, we talked. I don't know if we did last week. No, we didn't because of Thanksgiving. So let me just go through them all real quick. The Packers, they beat the Lions. That was a big surprise. The Packers beating the Lions on Thanksgiving, 29-22. Cowboys over the Commanders, not such a big surprise, 45-10.
Drubbing.
The 49ers over the Seahawks, 31-13. The Dolphins, 34-13 on Friday afternoon. Into the weekend. The Indianapolis Colts, they hop into the playoffs with a 27-20 win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
They're 2-4 at home.
2-4. We play them at their place, so that's I like this. New York Giants, the New York Football Giants, 10. The Patriots, 7. Drops the Patriots. They only have 2 wins. 2 wins. Whatever their loss amount is, I'm not sure, but they have 2 wins.
2-9.
I like this. The Tennessee Titans, they beat the Panthers 17-10, which ultimately leads to the firing of Frank Reich in a game where the Houston Texans could have won. It came down to the field goal kicker at the end of the game.
That was wild. I feel bad for that kicker.
I feel so bad for CJ.
But you know what? For the two better teams in that division, that's not a bad game. 24-21.
Really good game.
No.
Jaguars win after getting beat by 20 the last 2 times these 2 teams played. The Falcons and the Saints, Falcons wins 24-15. That puts them at 5-6 and in the lead in their division. They would be the number 4 seed overall if the playoffs
That's
started
the worst
today.
division in football. I love it.
That would be consecutive years. They did that last year, remember?
I hope it happens.
The Cardinals take a beating from the Rams. Cardinals are who the Steelers play this week. They take the beating at home to the Rams. They'll be coming to Pittsburgh. The Browns laying eggs. They'll go out to Denver, take the number 1 defense with them. They're coming off their Super Bowl win against the Steelers. They drop the ball big time. They lose 29-12. Big game between the Eagles and Bills ended up being a really good game. I don't get these Bills. They lose the teams they should beat, and then the team that's 10-1, they go to overtime. They could have won this game. They lose 37-34 in OT. Chiefs get another win, stay up top their division, 31-17 over the Raiders. Last night, the game between the Ravens and the Chargers. The Ravens win this game before they go on their bye week. Last game of the week is tonight. Bears traveling to play Minnesota. And I got to say, guys, we already do know who the winner is at this point, but we won't talk about it until tomorrow on our picks. Also, let's go through these standings real quick, guys. In the AFC East, the Dolphins are 8-3. They're at the top of the division. Second place is the Bills with a 6-6 record. Then the Jets at 4-7. Then the Patriots 2-9, which is the worst record in the AFC. In the AFC West, Kansas City's up top with the 8-3 record. These Broncos, after starting 1-5, are now 6-5. Watch out for the Broncos, second place in the AFC West with a 6-5 record. The Raiders fall to 5-7. They're in fourth place, and then the Chargers, they are 4-7, and they're in last place in that division. To the AFC South, the Jaguars up top, 8-3. The Colts and Texans tied in second place, both with the 6-5 record, and the Titans bringing up the rear with the 4-7. And finally, in the AFC North, the Ravens sit up top with 9-3, finally getting their bye week. Pittsburgh directly behind them with the 7-4 and a tiebreaker over Cleveland, who sits there at 7-4. And finally, the Bengals in the basement with a 5-6 record. Over to the NFC, the Eagles 10-1, best record in the NFL. They are atop the NFC East, ahead of the Cowboys by 2 games. Cowboys in second place with an 8-3 record. The Giants and Commanders tied in the basement with 4-8 records. I thought the Commanders would have a better season than the Giants. I mean, come on. 49ers 8-3 in the NFC West. Seahawks 6-5. That's my X factor going down the stretch for the Steelers. We'll talk more about that Seattle game as time goes on, because I do feel like this is going to probably be one of the bigger games in the last 6. Rams sitting at 5-6, and the Cardinals with the same record, I believe, as the Patriots, 2-10, are in the basement, and that is who the Steelers will be hosting this coming week, is this 2-10 Cardinals team.
Hell yeah.
NFC North, Lions sitting up top with an 8-3, no surprise there. Vikings if the Vikings win tonight, they'll be 7-5 behind an 8-3 Detroit team. After losing Kirk Cousins, it's kind of nice to see this team continue to strive and be competitive. I wouldn't mind seeing them beat the Bears tonight just to make it a little tighter up top that division. Packers 5-6. Got a showdown with Kansas City coming up this week. And in the bottom of that division, the Bears sit with 3-8. Finally, the worst division in football, the NFC South. The Falcons and the Saints both tied with a 5-6 record. The Falcons are up top of that division. Buccaneers 4-7, and the worst team in the league is the Carolina Panthers. Of course, just firing Frank Reich this morning, are sitting in with a 1-10. A 1-10 record, Mike.
And they don't have their first round pick.
And they don't have their
all
first
because they
round
took
pick.
the quarterback that their coach did not want to take.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted CJ Stroud. Ownership and the GM wanted the little guy.
Yeah, the midget.
Yeah.
College football. Pitt loses their final game of this terrible season, 30-19 to Duke. They finished with a 3-9 schedule this year. Penn State blows out Michigan State 42-0. Of course, Michigan beats Ohio State 30-24.
Go blue.
Which I don't think that's going to mess anything. I think Ohio State and Michigan will both be in the playoffs still. And just because they're such a big story and everybody wants to talk about them, the Colorado Buffaloes lose to Utah 23-17. They are 12th. They are 12th in Pac-12 in the Pac-12, and they sit there with a 4-8 overall record. Pittsburgh fires offensive coordinator Pat Cignetti.
Scapegoat.
And many are wondering, is Matt Canada going to be hired back at Pitt, where he was kind of successful?
Yeah, hell yeah. Put him back in college.
And put him at Penn State. We don't want him.
Well, we don't
You're
want
looking
him.
for an offensive coordinator too, aren't you?
No.
No.
Maybe he can go to Ohio State.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Matt Canada to the Buckeyes.
You're a coach at Ohio State. You're guaranteed 10 wins a year. All you have to do is coach one game a year, and that's beat Michigan. And that idiot up there can't do it. And I love it.
Has it been 3 years in a row, I guess, huh?
Mm-hmm. That guy talks a lot of shit and then loses the biggest game of the year. I love it. Yeah, they beat Penn State, but they talk big shit and they lose their big game. So,
high school football guys, big day on Friday. It was the WPIAL championship games at Acrisure Stadium.
Yep.
From single A to quad A, it went like this. Southside, the number 1 seed coming in, they lose 42-28 to the number 2 seed Fort Cherry. Double A, Beaver Falls, the number 10 seed, gets to the final game at Acrisure Stadium and upsets the number 1 seed Steel Valley. Of course, Steel Valley is the alma mater of Charlie Batch, and Beaver Falls the alma mater of Joe Namath. Charlie Batch was doing commentary for the Steel Valley game. It would have been neat to see Joe Namath there also, but that didn't happen. Triple A, Bell Vernon 26, Avonworth nothing. Bell Vernon was number 1 seed. Avonworth was number 2. Pretty, wasn't a good game, but nonetheless. In quad A, quad A, the Aliquippa Quips, they did win. They were at Acrisure Stadium for 16 straight years. This is the 16th straight year the Aliquippa Quips go to Acrisure Stadium. They win their 8th in that period of time, 35-21 over number 2 McKeesport. Both Beaver Falls and Aliquippa go on to the state finals this week. And if they win this week, then it'll be off to the state championship game. So good luck to both of those teams. Great games on Friday down at Acrisure Stadium. Also, before we start getting ready to wrap up, Penguins, over the weekend, they lost on Friday to Buffalo. They won on Saturday against Toronto. Both games 3-2 in the loss and in the win. And their next game is tomorrow night at Nashville, Mike, 8:00 p.m.
Oh.
Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website, man?
The Dumyinzers.com, the number 2 DUMYINZERS.com. And there for everything 2 Yinzers. All for socials are over there. Thanks to Spotify is over there. Blogs up there. Post will be up tomorrow. I'm not doing it today. I'm tired. So yeah, the 2 Dumyinzers.com.
We are starting this week. We're starting our Cardinals, our Arizona Cardinals trivia, guys. Of course, this could go back to when it was the St. Louis Cardinals. This could go back. It's the Cardinals franchise. We are going to start because that is who the Steelers play this weekend, is this Arizona Cardinals football team. They'll be coming to town on Sunday. You guys ready for a little Arizona Cardinals trivia?
I'm ready.
All right, Mike, I'm going to start with you. You know what? Let me read it and then we'll go from there, right?
All right.
All right. Question of the day is this. Who holds the franchise record for receiving yards in a single season by this Cardinals franchise? Again, who holds the franchise record for receiving yards in a single season? I'll give you choices if you would like. Think that over for a moment. We are live, everybody, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, right here at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And if you just missed this, or you'd rather listen to the show, maybe in the car, maybe in the gym, you could always put it in podcast, because we do upload the show that we do live every day over in podcast form and at Spotify at 8:00 p.m. Check it out. All right, guys. Who holds the franchise record for receiving yards in a single season for the Cardinals franchise? Do you guys want choices or no?
No.
Derpy?
No.
All right. So here we go. Question of the day. Who holds the franchise record for receiving yards in a single season by the Cardinals franchise? I'll start with Mike. Mike, who do you think?
Give me Anquan Bolden.
Anquan Bolden. Is this your final answer?
Final answer.
Let me lock you into place. There we go. Derpy, over to you. Question of the day: Arizona Cardinals. Here we go. Who holds the franchise record for receiving yards in a single season? Who do you think it
I
was?
was thinking Bolden, but I'm going to go Fitzgerald.
All right, Larry Fitzgerald. Is this your final answer?
Yeah.
All right, lock into place. All right, everybody. Who holds the franchise record for receiving yards in a single season for the Cardinals? Mike says Anquan Bolden. Derby says Larry Fitzgerald. The choices were this. Now that we're all locked in, was it A, Larry Fitzgerald, B, David Boston, C, Rob Moore, D, Roy Green? In the final answer, the correct answer is David Boston.
Oh,
David Boston holds the franchise record
forgotten.
for receiving yards in a single season for the Cardinals.
The forgotten receiver.
So there you have it, guys. You feel how you guys feel about the Steelers, about the Cardinals coming up this week?
Trap game.
Yeah,
Trap game indeed.
all right.
Not so much a trap game, but you know, I seen Kyler Murray win games they should lose.
Yeah.
That's just what scares me.
I seen them lose games they should win too.
Exactly. That's what scares me.
We do want to thank everybody for checking us out. As always, we appreciate each and every one of you. Mike, anything before we start getting ready to wrap it up, man?
Jalen Warren has reached the level to where he can fumble and it's not his fault. No one talks about the fumble.
Ain't that the truth?
That he has reached the rarefied air where you can mess up and it doesn't even get talked about. It's someone else's fault, baby.
Derby.
I love it.
Derby, a lot happened over this weekend. What do you got?
Yeah, what do you got, Derby?
There's
Send
gotta
us
be
out on a
something.
positive note. No, because I'm Mr. Negative over here.
Jalen Warren's the best.
Fumble.
I give him a high five. I got nothing, actually. I got nothing.
That's why Jalen Warren fumbled.
Yes.
The derp disease finally got his hand.
The derp disease.
Probably. I got nothing. I got
That's
nothing,
good.
actually.
No, you did. You gave him 5, and look at the season he's having. So
Maybe
We'll
the
credit it all
magic's
to
wearing
that.
off. The magic's wearing
Maybe
off.
it's
I'll
wearing
be
off.
nice.
Maybe.
I'll be nice. The magic's wearing off, derp.
But guys, we do have the Monday Night Football game tonight. It is the Vikings and the Bears. Check that out. We'll be back first thing tomorrow to talk all about that and much, much more. For the two Dum Yinzers, Derpy, Mike, myself, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.